In this short video, we're going to help you better understand service of process in Louisiana. We'll cover a few topics, the first being what is service of process. We'll also go over what you need for service, as well as some of the ways that you can actually accomplish it. Now, starting with our first question, what is service of process? Very simply put, service of process is the delivery of court papers to the other party in a lawsuit. Now, very importantly in Louisiana, service must be requested within 90 days of filing of the lawsuit. But luckily, not every document that's filed in court needs to be served. Only that initial paperwork that you'll hear called a pleading or a petition needs to be served, as well as any other paperwork or documents that ask the court to set a hearing date where both parties are asked to attend. To get started with service, you really just need to have some basic information about the person that you're trying to serve. That includes a physical address, most likely their work or home address where they can be found, and then also some descriptive information about what they look like, from their hair and eye color, how tall they are, and how much they weigh, so that the person delivering the documents on your behalf knows they have the right person. Now, to make service actually count, you need the delivery of those documents to the other party. To support that, a sworn affidavit will be needed from the person that actually makes the delivery of those documents on the other party. And then that affidavit or statement will need to be filed with the court, so the court is aware that everybody is on notice that there is a lawsuit and that they are required to defend themselves in court. Now, jumping into the different methods of service or ways that you can accomplish it, I have listed here some of the most common options in Louisiana. And we'll take each one of these in turn. Sheriff service is by far the most popular, and it's for the simple reason that it's the easiest. This is the option where once you file your documents, you request service with the clerk of court and provide that identifying information that we were talking about a moment ago. This is typically done right in the initial pleadings or paperwork, and it's simply a request that the sheriff serve the defendant on your behalf. You will be required to pay a small sheriff service fee, but at that point, the sheriff's deputy will attempt to deliver those papers at the address that you provided. After that, the sheriff will file what's called a service return with the court. I have an asterisk here because this is one case where you need to follow up with the court after a few days to make sure service was actually accomplished. In some cases, the sheriff may not actually have been able to reach that person, so if that's the case, you'll need to re-request service. Another option is acceptance or waiver of service. This is very common in, for example, divorce cases or cases where both parties agree that there needs to be a lawsuit, that they agree to get divorced, and agree to accept the paperwork without having to be served by the sheriff or another type of service. This is a free option, so if you and the other party agree, you may want to see about acceptance or waiver of service. To do this one, you'll need to get a certified copy of the lawsuit from the court. It's very important that it's a certified copy. Just a printout from your home will not be sufficient for service, so just ask the clerk of court for a certified copy and you'll pay a small fee to get that done. Next, you'll have to deliver those documents to the other party yourself. At that point, you'll ask the other party to sign what's called an affidavit of acceptance or service, and then file that with the court, again, so the court is aware that the other party has received the documents. The third type is process service. Here, we typically use process service after the sheriff's service fails. So if you've tried multiple times with the sheriff and they're unable to reach the defendant or the other party in the lawsuit, you'll probably need to hire a private process server. To do this, again, you'll need a certified copy of the lawsuit, and then you'll have to file what's called a motion to appoint. And this is you telling the court that you're going to have a third-party person deliver the paperwork on your behalf. You'll then coordinate with that third-party process server who delivers the papers for you, and then the process server will complete the affidavit of service for you. Now, at that point, either you or the process server will file that affidavit of service with the court. So if you are hiring a process server, make sure that you are clear on who's responsible for filing the affidavit with the court. And the last type for this video is long-arm service. This is only used when the defendant or the other party that needs to be served lives out of state. To accomplish this one, you'll again need to get a certified copy of the documents from court and then send that certified copy to the out-of-state party through one of three ways. Many of these track ways that we've already talked about. The first being registered or certified mail or a commercial courier like FedEx or UPS. Now be sure if you're using US mail that you are using certified or registered mail, that's that green card, because at that point, once it's delivered, the person receiving the documents will be responsible for signing for it, and that's your proof to the court that the other party did in fact get served. Another option is to use another private process server that's authorized by the court. And then even less commonly is an officer that's authorized to make service where the defendant lives. To do that one, it's pretty complicated. So your best bet for out-of-state service is using a registered or certified mail or FedEx or UPS. Once that has been completed and the actual documents have been delivered, you will file the service return or affidavit with the court. Now, to recap here a little bit, what are the elements of effective service? I think you probably have the hang of it by now, but to recap, the first is very important that you have a certified copy of the papers from the court. Unless you're having the sheriff serve on your behalf, you will need to get a certified copy of the documents from the court in order to do any of the other types of service. Then you must make sure that the documents are actually delivered to the other side. Finally, you must file the service return or affidavit with the court so that they are aware that all parties involved in the lawsuit have knowledge of the lawsuit and are expected to respond or be present. Now, this was a very quick overview of service of process. If you're looking for more information, you can visit www.louisianalawhelp.org and search for service of process to learn more.